Hello everyone, welcome back. It is Anna here, and today I am going to be talking about materials for collaging for your journal. So this is kind of like a smaller video on how to start journaling, how to get started in journaling. Because I have talked a lot about stationery minimalism and shopping your stash and just looking for different resources that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go out and spend a lot of money, because the materials that I have here didn't cost a lot, if anything, and you can find a lot of great collage images and things like that just from looking at just like magazines and catalogs and things like that. So I kind of wanted to show you some of the resources that I go to for a lot of those collage elements that cost basically nothing. So if you guys shop at Trader Joe's, they come out with, I think it's like a monthly or quarterly little Fearless flyer, and they have really great imagery. So if you're into kind of the more whimsical, vintage look, and you know, you can just cut those out. They're free to take, so sometimes I'll just take like one or two to have, and you get really fun images to cut out. So that's one thing that you can do if you have one nearby. So those are always fun, and they're free. If you go to any of the like state parks, you know, ferry stops, train stops, and things like that, they always have like these big guide magazines and brochures and things like that. And they always have great photography that you can actually rip out and use as backgrounds. So like if you cut this off, you'll have all of that as a background. These are great for just kind of like those fun food travel images that you can use into collage and create vision boards from. I think those are really fun. So when I was in San Juan, I grabbed a few of these kinds of magazines. Like you can use the maps as backgrounds. So that's another idea there. National Geographic magazines are some of my favorites. These are super cheap to come by. The most I've seen maybe are, you know, like $3 or $4, if that, but they're usually about $1 or $2. Even the ones that are super old, I've got a lot of like 50s and 30s copies here. I get these from half price, and if you have a coupon, it'll cost even less. Or you can get it on a sale where sometimes they do a 20% off their entire purchase, anything in the store. That's a great time to look. You can look in the magazine section, and there's usually huge stacks of magazines of all different sorts, but they always have a big selection of National Geographics. So these are great. You can get really cool old photography, and they're just fun to flip through in general. So obviously, as you go on in the years, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, you'll have more color photography. The earlier ones will have less and have usually black and white, but you can cut these images out. You don't have to use the entire photo. You can just, you know, cut out the people if you want, but these make for great collage materials. I really like those. Like these, you know, some of them have just very vivid, nice photos, and it's just kind of fun to see what people looked at when travel wasn't as prominent. In the 50s, that's when travel was a little bit more popular and cheaper to do, so a lot of people were doing it, but I think that's just really fun. Like, see, I can cut her out and just put her into a different collage page, but these are fun, and, you know, I've got several copies to kind of cut through, and just a great resource. Catalogs are really fun. So if you sign up for, say, like Westum or Anthropologie's got great catalogs. They usually come in very beautiful photographs and layouts, so you can use these for vision boards. So this is one from the spring, and it was a really big one actually. So look at that. Like, they have really great images and colors, and if anything, you can always use these as kind of like inspiration. If you look at a floor plan or a room and you know you like the colors, maybe those are the colors that you can strive for to use as a theme for your journal, and just kind of take that as a color palette example. Just really fun. And I love just looking at the different things people see as beautiful and just all over fun things. And you can use the images for even like, you know, creating your dream room, or, you know, your gift list for next year. You can actually have visuals for your gift ideas for people or for yourself. Or just use it as like a journal prompt for, this is my aesthetic, this is my style. So like, see, like this kind of like nice washed out blue, you can just cover this up with something and then just use this as a background. But these are always great. Anthropology always comes out with great ones. And then, oh, another Fearless Flyer magazine from Trader Joe's. Magazines are another great one. I used to subscribe to a ton, but you can also check libraries. Libraries always have subscriptions, and then when it comes past the months that they need these for, they will usually sell them for super cheap, or they're in the free pile. So that's always something you can check out at your local library. Bookstores like Half Price Books or old bookstores usually have magazines that are a few months older for super cheap. Or if you have friends and family who subscribe to magazines and they just flip through it or never catch up on them, which I think most people have a tendency to do, you can just ask them if they want them anymore, and you can just look through them. Interior magazines are really great because they have, similar to like catalogs, they always have like this great sort of aesthetic to them, and each issue and each article has its own theme, and you can really play around with the images and use them for different things. So obviously this is an older issue, but I just wanted to show you as an example. And this is a great way for you to use up your magazines and give it a second life, because oftentimes when we look at magazines, we might rip out 1 or 2 recipes or something, and then it just goes into the recycling. But this is a great way for you to just reuse, reduce, I guess. So this is one of my favorite magazines, The Artful Blogging. I love reading these. I love just kind of savoring the images, and then once I'm done, I will just go through and I will cut out the photography. Now, I wouldn't suggest like taking the photography and just using it and posting it, you know, as your photography, but you know, if you're just collaging it into your own journal and recreating it into something completely different, I feel like that's okay. You know, as long as you're not like reselling it as something. But a lot of these bloggers have such great photography, and it just kind of, I feel bad if it goes to waste and it just ends up in the trash, because these aren't cheap magazines either. So these are excellent, and they're just full of different things. I just threw these in there too. Majesty magazine. I love the royal family, so this is a great way for me to kind of just cut out my favorite images of them and throw them into my journals. Yes, I subscribe to Reminisce magazine because I am an old soul. So that is great because it's got a lot of really retro photography, and sometimes they'll do like a movie article or something about an old celebrity, and I love that. I love the images. This is a really old Reminisce issue from when my dad used to subscribe to it, so this one's got even cooler photography. Flow magazine is another great one, which again is another pricey subscription, but if you get it, another way to just give it a second life. Great photography. They do a lot of cool like hand lettering quotes too that you can also cut out and put in backgrounds, or even just hang it up as artwork. And so that is another idea. And then old books. I am a big proponent of just going to a charity shop, Goodwill, Valley Village, whatever you have that sells really old coffee table books of artwork and history for like $1 or $2. I got this one, I think, for $3 maybe. And it's just all about Western art. And they have beautiful images, tons of them, that I can cut out. And you can see that I've already done so. Beautiful pieces of art. I'm hoping to find one with more of like a Rococo and maybe more of the Renaissance look. But just beautiful artwork that I can cut out and really have fun with. So these are great resources, and I hope this kind of helps you in finding some very easily gotten materials that you can get to. So you don't necessarily need to buy die cuts and things like that. I guess it depends on your style too, but I kind of like older images and everything. It just kind of works for me. So I hope this little tip helps you in your journaling. Oh, and then one last thing is what I do is after I rip them out, I cut them up, I kind of store them in this just Sumiko Garashi folder. You can put them in a binder if you want and just separate them by category. I just throw it in and I have fun with it. I just go through this every time I just kind of feel like maybe spicing up my journal. I just want to play with things. I'll just flip through this and just grab stuff with whatever catches my eye or what, you know, goes with the theme of the season or something, and it's all in there. When this gets really full, I'll really clean it out, pull out images that no longer speak to me anymore, or just pull out images that I know I want to use up soon and just kind of keep them close at hand. But that's what I do. That's where I store them. And happy journaling. Bye.